the East Coast guys were really, back in the day, really conceptual. You got Jag, made real conceptual pipes. He was the first pipe maker to get a piece into the MoMA, which is an art gallery. They do not allow pipes in.
Museum of Modern Art.
Yeah. He made a bomb. It was a bubbler that was a disc with a basket of fruit with an African lady, like African art lady, holding the basket of fruit. And you would take the fruit out, and that was the bowl. And you would take the top of her head off, like the little ball in her hair, and you could put water in it and smoke.
Wow,
nobody knew about it. Nobody knew it was functional. Nobody knew it was a pipe until at the very end he goes, check it out.
No way.
It's a pipe.
No shit.
Yeah.
That's the only way you got
That
in
was
there.
like the biggest flex that anybody had done back
Punked.
then. Like nobody had a piece in a legitimate art space.
Leaf Life.
Forming glass into something beautiful and functional means marrying creativity with technique. And as the form continues to grow in recognition in the art world, how does the eager beginner ignite their own fire? This is glass blowing.
Come on, baby, light my fire.
Try to set the night on fire!
Fuego,
All right.
baby.
Our first segment, getting behind the torch. And in our second segment, turning point. That's the current state of the market, basically. Things are changing, and we're going to learn all about it from our guy. But before we get educated, we got to get medicated. So let's get stoned. There it is.
So which is the best flower you guys have right here?
Oh, we haven't introduced you yet, bro.
Oh, sorry.
Zip it up, dog.
Hey,
you're saying your turn, JD. I'm playing games, brother. It's great to see you, man. This is wherever your days led you. Now it's time to fire up, drink up, chill up, get in the mood as we introduce this show's Greg the Guinea Pig.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Greg the Guinea Pig. Who's our guest this week?
Greg the Guinea Pig warning. These tasks are undertaken by experienced cannabis users and under the supervision of accredited professionals. So please take our advice and definitely try this at home.
And try this here in the studio at Leaf HQ. JD MAPLESDEN is a veteran glassblower who has worked with Swiss Perk Glass, Mothership Glass, and Whitney Harmon Glass, and is currently based out of Eugene, Oregon. JD was the featured glass artist in the Leaf's February 2025 Glass Artist Spotlight nationwide. JD, welcome to the Leaf Life podcast.
Thank you guys for having me out.
He's a made man. Those are some huge names that he's worked with. And now it's time to get a little faded, my brother, as we spin AJ's wheel to see what's in AJ's stash.
And now, what's in AJ's stash?
AJ, got a lot going on right now. In fact, there's so many pieces of glass here to choose from. JD brought a cornucopia of beautiful glasswork that he's designed, but you've got
gorgeous.
You got a special one right here to smoke out of. Explain that piece for us, JD.
This piece is called a wormhole. I came up with the design in 2014 after I left the Mothership.
Okay.
This one is a collaboration with an artist out of Philadelphia named Yook Glass.
Yook.
Yook.
Okay.
Glass.
Okay.
He's a younger guy. He watched degenerate art back in the day and decided he wanted to blow glass. And 2 years later, he was working in Marble Slinger's studio. So it's really cool.
Wow.
I've started working with him like within his first 3 years of blowing glass. And to watch his growth over the years is really awesome.
And you've got like the down stem going through a circular chamber.
Yeah, the bowl sits in front, down below. So it's like an ash catcher or an oil or like a reclaim catch. So it just keeps your water cleaner. And when you pour the water out, the water doesn't get to the joint. So like your reclaim doesn't get wet. So you can just warm it up a little bit and pour it right out the joint.
I've never seen one designed like that. It's gorgeous. I just held it up to the camera. If you're watching at Leaf Life Podcast V2 on YouTube, you can see it for yourself.
Yeah.
Go ahead and take that thing and
Dope, man.
what are we smoking, AJ?
I love the color combination on this piece. There's so many different colors going on here.
Yeah,
it's
my
gorgeous.
section, on my section, it's a full rainbow. And then his are camouflage different colors of the rainbow. So it kind of matched up that way.
Far out.
Yeah. All right, so we're smoking on some Mama Chan's. These guys are from Legacy Days, some super fire, high quality Halle berry. So you got an ice cream cake times blockberry. Should be some sort of like cherry OG Kush Are you ready for this, my guy?
Yeah, I would love to try it.
All right, I'm going to light you up here with the hemp wick.
And if you smoke that, Halle Berry
beautiful.
becomes your girlfriend. And not the current Halle Berry, but the one where she played the Bond girl. Okay?
I love
Is that Monster Ball?
Pass
I love how
me
the piece
the
has
bong.
Bond girl, as in James Bond.
I was thinking the Bong Girl and Monster.
Oh, yeah, Monster Ball.
Yeah, Monster Ball.
Yeah, she was amazing. She was amazing.
Bless up.
I
Beautiful
take
actress.
any Halle Berry.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I would definitely hang out with her today.
Oh, bomb. I love how the piece has like a hook on it. You can kind of like hold on to it, almost like a handle.
My fingers are too big for it. Yours might fit.
Yeah, it fit perfect. Like
It's a cool piece. I've never seen one quite like that. The way the stem goes through the chamber. That's ill, bro. And glass blowing, obviously, is your expertise. You're one of the most notorious in the glass blowing industry, and that's saying a lot. That's a dude who's blown a lot of glass in his day. So you're kind of an OG, a mentor, so to speak. And when it talk about getting behind the torch, so somebody out there who's listening to the Leaf Life podcast, who's maybe young and impressionable or not, wants a new hobby as they're, reaching into their 40s or 50s, a new artistic endeavor, getting behind the torch is as simple as buying a torch and learning how to blow glass. You tell me, bro.
Actually, it's actually that simple. I bought a torch off of an artist in Moscow, Idaho. I bought a book. I bought a kiln. I bought some materials. I read the book. And I learned to blow glass.
Okay.
Wow.
Nowadays, you got
Just like
you got
that.
it way easier because you got the YouTube. There's more books out there. You can just get on YouTube and learn from that. When I was in Medellin, Colombia, I met a kid named CDA Glass, and he was learning off watching Eugene blow glass and other people on Revere Glass YouTube channel. And it was really cool to see this guy he's never seen anyone blow glass before. And he's like figuring out how to do it in another country where he has to buy the materials from us.
Well, that's the power of the internet today.
Yeah.
Because that wasn't there when you started or when Snodgrass first, silver fumed something.
Bob Snodgrass.
Or when the ship, first blasted off. It all had to be invented. And yet it still takes, the same kind of gumption as it does to learn the guitar. Anyone can buy the guitar, anyone can get on YouTube, but it takes that time and playing and dedicating yourself to it. The thing I learned the first time I tried to blow glass is that it is really hot. So if you're not into heat, stay out of the kitchen.
Yeah, the heat's like one of the fun parts when it's nice weather right now. It's so cold down in Oregon. But it's like, it keeps you warm up front. So like you want to stay in there. It's like the first time I touched glass, I just mesmerized. I was like, something that was solid right here in my hand, like this. And I could be heating right here. And
What
it's
is
fully
that,
melted.
by the way? For people that are listening and not watching, what are you holding in your hand?
12 mil tube attached to a 24 mil tube. So a 1 inch tube attached to a 1/2 inch tube.
It's glass.
That I would spin in my hand to make a spoon pipe or a colored section.
So that's a blank.
Yeah,
baby,
so it's just a
basically.
blank.
Gotcha.
There's multiple ways to make them, but it's a really easy beginning thing. And then from there, I started off with marbles, pendants, and then moved to hollow work. And the whole time it's like, I didn't have someone, I had a couple people I'd go and go to their studios and buy glass from before I started learning. But as soon as they knew I had a torch, it was like, hey, let's go smoke inside.
They didn't want to share.
No, they wanted to share, but they didn't want to give away. Because there's a difference in between like having your friend come over and hang out and then having some guy who just like wanders in off the streets like, hey, can I buy something from you and watch you? But they're not really, you don't know who they are. It's like back in the day, you were worried about pipe dreams. We just had 2 years after I started blowing glass, we all got a whole bunch of people got arrested. We all got pushed underground.
Operation Pipe Dreams was a DEA raid that hit really heavily in Oregon, but all over the country. They raided people for selling pipes, including Tommy Chong. His son Paris caught a charge, and Tommy did time. And I interviewed him way back around 2016, long time ago, about that experience. But he did a year in prison for selling a pipe, which is insanity.
Just insane, yeah.
And so it makes sense that you would have that kind of hidden culture, that lockdown culture in the past.
Yeah. I mean, I got 52 counts of paraphernalia for having clean pipes in Idaho.
Wow.
Just driving through a
shit.
30-mile section going from Spokane to Missoula, Montana. You have to cross the tip of Idaho. I got pulled over for 5 miles over. He's like, what's in the case? because it's a gun case. I go, oh, some pieces I made. I opened up, just counts them because that's 52 counts of marijuana paraphernalia, son. $250 per count.
So it's like $10,000.
Yeah.
But if it's like unused, the pipe's unused. they
Anything
can't
that
prove
was
what it's
glass
for.
back then, anything made of glass, anything that had 3 holes or held water. Like we couldn't say bong in a shop.
Right.
We'd have to walk in and be like, hey, you want to
Water
check out this
pipes.
piece that holds water that you can smoke tobacco through? And it was like all real, like after pipe dreams, it was real hush hush. Like we all came up with different names like Cowboy and like there's a few of us that go by our nickname, like Use. I'm JD. Like we didn't change our name. Scott Deppy was Scott Deppy, but we weren't having websites to sell our stuff. We had to go to a show or we had to talk someone in. I used to have to go into shops and be like, look, I got pieces for sale, pipes for sale. And they're like, that's going to break. I'm like, yeah, that's why I keep making them.
Well, and you wouldn't have, if Instagram had been around, you wouldn't have put it out there on
No,
there.
we couldn't. It was like we had one place to sell the glass or to show the glass off, glasspipes.org. And you could only show off. You could not make anything that sounded like you had intentions of selling it because it was a gallery for people to display their profile. And that's where we would learn about each other's work and how we got to know each other. So before the social media was social media, we had this like backdoor internet site where we could go wake up in the morning, take the piece out of the kiln, photograph it, throw it on glasspipes.org, then go to work.
Wow.
And it was like a whole process and there's no money in it at all. You're strictly doing it to show your buddy, like, check it out. I learned how to do a heel flip today. And it was like a reversal. And it was like, hey, man, it was kind of like skateboarding back in the day. It was like your buddy learned how to do a pop shove it. He showed you how to do a pop shove it. But it was like not everyone skated together. So there's like really cool different areas like Eugene, Colville, where like Eugene was fuming. Colville was like heady work with Marcel and Ezra. And that was like where Scott learned to blow glass. It was with Marcel. And it's like, there's 2 totally different segments of glass. You got this fume guys, this all Snodgrass family. Then you had the color guys that were like, why are they so clear? I want color. And then you had color companies that were still trying to develop stuff. When North Star opened, there were 6 colors.
Wow.
There was like blue.
North Star Glass Works in Portland.
Yep. They were the first color company on the market. And they're still around, so it's really cool to see.
Cheers
that.
to Abe.
And we got like 100. I think right now our palette's at like 120 different colors.
Wow. And then you can blend them too, right?
They don't blend like paint does. It's like they sit next to each other. So if you thin them out really thin and you mix them up over and over, you can get something that looks kind of like it when you hold it back here, like hold it out from your body. But when you get it up close and you really look at it, you can see different colors layered together.
Because it's a colored like molecule.
Yeah, it's just a rod.
Right on.
Like
there it
this.
is.
Wow,
Okay.
Yeah, so they
that's
come in
beautiful.
like 18-inch long rods that are about 7 millimeters round, the size of a pencil. And there's the transparent colors, the opaque colors, the blue ones.
Yeah.
And like none of these colors were existing before pipe making. Like no one had a use for colored glass in scientific work outside of uranium glass, which was used as a buffer to go from one type to another type. And it was like,
And scientific glass is like glass beakers or you know, things that are used for science.
Every university in the country had a shop to blow glass because they had to manufacture their own science labs. So it was like those were like and the only place to learn how to do scientific work, unless you find someone who knows how to do it, Salem Community College out in New Jersey.
Wow.
So you had the like at first there was like guys on the East Coast that were like scientific, but they didn't know anything about color. And the guys on the West Coast, we had access. We would walk in, buy stuff from North Star. I would drive from Spokane to Portland to buy like 200 pounds and bring them back up and sell them to all the other little glass blowers.
That's like a 15-hour round trip.
Yeah.
And it's a constantly evolving market, right? And in the second segment, we'll discuss the turning point and where we are in the market right now. But first, brother, it's time for you to play Gas, Grass, or Glass. Nobody rides for free.
Don't spill the bong water. It's time to play gas, grass, or glass. Nobody rides for free.
There you go, brother.
Which
All
one
right.
did I get?
Don't look confused, man.
I am.
Dazed and
Good.
confused.
This is
the
the best
best.
part.
I'm gonna lob you a softball. Okay?
All right.
This one's just fun. I'm not gonna make it awkward or anything on you.
Ricker likes to fuck with
He
people.
loves
I do.
to fuck with
I enjoy
people.
it, JD.
Ay,
Look,
ay,
he's
ay.
twitching, man. Look at that, Rex.
I
Rex,
just-
how long you know JD, bro?
Oh, God.
At least 18.
18 years. Okay.
Wow.
I had to think about
We
it.
met up at
Wow.
Barter Fair, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, I want to say the first time we met was at Barter Fair.
Yeah, that was
It's
like
been
the
a long
premier
time.
place to sell your
Yeah,
work back in the day.
We were,
Yeah.
we were going through the timeline the other day, and it honestly blew me away how many years have gone by.
Gas,
Appreciate
grass,
your
or
friendship,
glass?
bro.
Nobody rides for free. Am I referring to gas, grass, or glass, JD? All right? It's that simple. You got one of three. Okay, here we go. Number one. In the December 2024 issue of California Leaf's Edibles issue, chicken and waffles was the featured product for the centerfold with a delicious representation of one of the Terp Mansion's tastiest offerings. The photo displayed a fried chicken breast on top of a lone toasted waffle next to the juicy treats for which this label was attributed. Gas, grass, or glass?
Definitely gas.
Well, when we talk about gas, we're talking about fuel.
Yeah.
Like auto fuel, the kind you put in a car. Okay, you're wrong.
I was
you might
thinking like
huff
the
it.
fuel. I was
It's
thinking-
grass, bro. It's grass.
Fuel the body.
I was thinking fuel the body.
It's grass.
I
It's-
get the connection.
Number two. By the way, the strain Chicken and Waffles is a cross of exotic flavors, legendary Purple Cartel, which ate with HSC's Jelly Donuts, grown by Luke Sanders and the Terp Mansion team.
Ooh,
Okay, here we go. Number two. This piece called Shipwreck 420 leagues under the... Wait, pronounce her. I don't want to confuse you, bro. This piece called Shipwreck 420 leagues under 420 leagues under the sea was a collaboration of multiple artists who make up the Molten Art Classic and was featured on the cover of Northeast Leaf magazine in April of 2024. Gas, grass, or glass?
Sounds like a glass one.
He's right.
yeah.
The man
Okay,
knows
bro.
his glass.
Oh yeah.
No, this is molten art, right? Okay. And number three, finally, this was the result of a spring break weekend of overindulgence when a college student at San Diego State went with 7 of his homies in a small RV with 2 beds to Palm Springs, California for some underage shenanigans that resulted in the inexpensive all-you-can-eat buffet at Sizzler Steakhouse for the endless shrimp extravaganza. Unfortunately, that shrimp was tainted and 3 out of the 4 attendees suffered from excruciating food poisoning that left the stomachs cramping and the vomit hurling due to an overabundance of this. Gas, grass, or glass?
Gas.
That's correct!
I thought that was going to be
My
a Four
gentleman.
Loko story.
Oh Lord. A Four Loco.
A Ricker story.
A Four Loco story. You said.
Well, you put a bunch of kids in an RV. What are you going to do?
I don't think they had Four Loco. That was a different generation.
God damn, I'm old.
If you want to discover cannabis news, reviews, entertainment, and culture, and explore every single Leaf magazine at your convenience, search leafmagazines.com. Coming up in our second segment, we'll dive into how we're at a turning point in the glass market. We'll get another spin at AJ's wheel next. Keep hanging with us on Leaf Life.
These products have intoxicating effects and may be habit-forming.
Marijuana can impair concentration, coordination, and judgment.
Do not operate a vehicle or machinery under the influence of this drug.
There may be health risks associated with consumption of these products.
For use by adults 21 and older.
Keep out of the reach of children.
Leaf Life.
Welcome to the second half of this Leaf Life show called Glass Blowing. In just a moment, we'll get into how we're at a turning point in the glass market, and we'll spin AJ's wheel to see what products JD MAPLESDEN, who's a veteran glass blower who has worked with Swiss Perk Glass, Mothership Glass, Whitney Harmon Glass, and is currently based out of Eugene, Oregon. JD was also the featured glass artist in the Leaf's February 2025 Glass Artist Spotlight. He's this show's Greg the Guinea Pig, and we'll see what he's going to be trying next. So go ahead and spin that wheel, AJ. All right.
All right, y'all. I also just want to point out that Mama Chan's flower that we smoked. You guys should check it out on YouTube. It's absolutely beautiful. Dank, deep, dark purple. We are moving on to Fox Cannabis Co. House Classics Disposable Cartridge.
Looks like the Scooby-Doo van.
Yeah, this is a Tahitian orange limonade. I did turn it on a little bit ago, so should be ready to pool. But if
I love the color.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, we're wearing a bunch of your gear, dude. You got a bunch of swag. I've got a Grassroots hat that was a collab with you back in like 2015. We've got some JB MAPLESDEN suspenders that we're rocking as well, right, Rex?
Hey, man, that's how you keep your pants up, bro.
Look at that, brother. My pants won't fall down
You
anymore.
can't run
Yeah,
if
the
you
gear.
can't run forward water if your pants are down.
That's right, brother.
How's that weed?
Nice shirt too, by the way, Mike.
Delicious. There's a very sweet flavor.
You like that? Yeah.
Let me fucking hit
It's
that
cool.
one
It
there.
also like feels nice in my hand.
What strain is it from Fox?
This is Tahitian orange.
Okay.
Fire.
Definitely taste the orange trips coming through on that really strongly.
Tahitian orange limeade actually. So it's even got those limonene hits as well. It's a sativa.
And that's Fox Cannabis?
Give that thing a shot.
Yeah,
Far
Fox
out.
Cannabis. Bomb.
All right. Yeah. So, as we talk about the turning point, you're talking about Operation Pipe Dreams back in the 90s. That was kind of the beginning, right, of, the glass industry and the hype around it and, how important it was to have a cool bong all of a sudden. It's a different market now. And the market is shifting. And it's not necessarily in a positive way, is it?
Not all the time.
Head shops are closing, man.
Yeah, we had I think 30 of them closed down last year.
Dang.
It
just where you
that
live?
I knew.
Yeah.
All over the country.
Right.
The head shops used to thrive off of the tobacco market, which was 18 and older. Now the tobacco market is 21 and over. So when I turned 18, me and my 3 buddies who lived together, we took all our change and we ran down to the head shop and we're like, we want that piece for $187, and we dumped a bag of change on the guy. He's like, go across the street and put that in the coin mart. I'll give it to you for the receipt. And so we got our first Jerome Baker that was 18 inches tall. We went home, filled it with water, and he told us we got to go walk in and we had to talk to somebody, have real interactions. And when they would tell you this bong functions this way, this pipe smokes this way, this is my favorite way to smoke. So you had someone to talk to and they showed you different products to smoke out of. Where now it's you're 18 and you want to go smoke, you can't. You have to have someone else show you, go buy it for you. You don't necessarily know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
Or
and
you
they
read it
gotta buy
online.
it at a weed store that's selling mostly Chinese glass at a 5X markup, or at a significant markup, and not, head shops would always have a certain amount of overseas glass, and they'd have American glass, and they would tell you this is the American stuff. This is from a local artist. Here's also the cheaper options, because there's a market for that too. But with the weed stores don't have an incentive to have a gallery or have an incentive to carry high value products and tie up their money in that inventory, because they're selling weed and their incentive is to get people out the door with the most money on weed and the least amount on another accessory. And so it has hurt that market, even as glass has exploded across the internet. It's all over Instagram. It's all over social media because it's beautiful. But that chance to connect and get that advice has been taken away.
Yeah. I mean, you couldn't buy anything online forever. We wouldn't sell it online up until I remember seeing my first websites come back where it's 2009, 2010. So there's a 6-year period where it's I would walk to every concert parking lot I could find just to try to sell a case of pipes.
Oh, yeah.
It's because there's head shops that wouldn't buy them.
That was the hustle back then.
Head shops wouldn't buy them because they would break different things. So you would have to talk people into buying them. And it's easy to talk people into smoking already in a parking lot. You're like, here, check this out. It's really cool. That's how we all learned that one from Bob Snodgrass back in the day.
So Bob Snodgrass, by the way, is basically the innovator of colored glass. Correct me if I'm wrong. And he is in Eugene, Oregon. He's an OG now. And Eugene was the epicenter of glass blowing at one point. And now it's, there are other cities like Chicago, I think, Philly.
Philly has a really, really strong scene, mostly because directly across the bridge is Salem, New Jersey. And so all the guys out of science school go over to Philly, and there's the art students right there. And so the East Coast guys were really, back in the day, really conceptual. You got Jag, made real conceptual pipes. He was the first pipe maker to get a piece into the MoMA, which is an art gallery. They do not allow pipes in.
Museum of Modern Art.
Yeah. He made a bomb. It was a bubbler that was a disc with a basket of fruit with an African lady, African art lady, holding the basket of fruit. And you would take the fruit out, and that was the bowl. And you would take the top of her head off, the little ball in her hair, and you could put water in it and smoke.
Wow,
nobody knew about it. Nobody knew
it was functional.
Nobody knew it was a pipe until at the very end he goes, check it out.
No way.
It's a pipe.
No shit.
Yeah,
That's the only way you got
that
in
was
there.
like the biggest flex anybody had done back
Punked.
then. Like
Wow.
nobody had a piece in a legitimate art space. We all
I
had
love
like
that.
we didn't have galleries. We had some guy who'd be like, put the pipes behind the curtain in the back where the pipe where the
Where the
other stuff
porn
is. Yeah,
is.
where all the porn is.
Yeah.
And you'd be like,
Damn,
man, I want
no
my stuff out
shit.
here.
Pipes and
so like in the
dildos.
beginning, it was really hard to talk
Yeah.
people into buying the glass.
It's amazing too the value that's come from it.
Yeah.
You know,
The internet
when
really
Scott
pushed
came
that.
on the show, he talked about how it was like first it was like a $2,000 pipe and then a $5,000, or piece, 5,000, then 10,000, and then $100,000. And I think that just like with fine art, it didn't start as a pursuit for money, but it has definitely made people wealth. And it's rewarded artists, which is good because artists need to be rewarded to be able to pursue their art.
Yep.
If there's no money to be made, there's no way to pursue it. The same for us. This is, our art at the Leaf is telling these stories. And so, I can relate to also the concept of hustling your pipes at going to head shops or going to a concert after. That's very much like the roots of all this. The people who grew the early weed had to also sell it. The people
they go
who,
hand in hand.
Yeah, and now it's different. You can kind of blow something and put it on Instagram and hope it sells. How's it changed for you these last 5 years, especially?
It's one hand gotten easier because everyone knows how to get your work, who to like. You get a real personal interaction online. Feel like you get to know someone really well by seeing how their work has developed over the years and what type of traveling they're doing and who they're working with. And it's really fun because you could interact. Like when 2014, I spent 9 months traveling around the country by finding people on Instagram, hitting them up and be like, hey, can I come hang out?
Wow.
You want to blow some glass? Let's hang out. And I
Dope.
get to make new friends all over the place. And it's like, before like 2009, I went to Philly to go hang out with Hops because I met him at Marble Slinger's first class.
Hops Glass.
Yeah, Hops Glass and then Marble Slinger were traveling around the country making the Degenerate art movie, and took the first class from Marble Slinger, and they were like, yo, come out to Philly for a month and let's hang out. And I was going to Virginia, so I looked on glasspipes.org, started A, and I went down till I found somebody who was in Richmond, Virginia.
Wow.
And then I had to send him an email, wait, and hope he actually looks at his email. Because back then it was like, how do you use this thing? It wasn't in your hand. And having access to a network of people around the world into your hand, it changed the whole game for us.
Yeah.
Like
And now glass is an international thing where it's sold and traded, and it's an international community where people like. Isn't Eugene from Japan?
No,
Or
Eugene's
am
from
Okay.
Southern Oregon.
Who's the Japanese glassblower who was on the cover of one of our magazines?
Yoshi Kondo.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yoshi's
Because of the Y,
insane. That
I'm
guy
a
is-
stoner.
Yeah, Yoshi's nuts.
He got to be on the cover of our magazine, and his part of his interview was how weed is incredibly illegal in Japan.
Oh, yeah.
They've
And
got
yet
a
he
whole
does
different thing
collabs
over
with
there.
people stateside, and he'll mail something
stateside.
half done.
Wow, yeah.
And then, they'll mail it back and forth and finish it. So it really has become something that's global.
What's really fun about Yoshi's work is he's one of the first people I ever seen do international collabs back in like 2008, 2009 at a marble show.
Oh, wow.
Because he didn't sell his work in the pipe world.
They wouldn't.
We found him.
Wow.
They
We
wouldn't
found
sell it.
him and we're like, yo, dude, can we collab with you? He's like, I can't come to America, but I can mail you this.
Yeah.
And then like him and Josh Sable
Wow.
back in the day would mail marbles back and forth. And they would make marbles like 2 inches around, 1.5 inches around.
Those things
but it'd
were
have to go back
crazy.
and forth across the ocean 3 times.
Well, Yoshi caught a case
Back in Arizona when he was in college.
Right. And he bounced on the warrant.
Yeah.
So he's not allowed back in the United States. And we wrote the article
Damn.
about him, and he regrets it, of course, because, later in life, he's like, I'm more mature now, and I made some mistakes when I was younger, and he's, trapped outside of the U.S., and the majority of glass blowers exist in the U.S., but he's definitely created a workaround.
Holding it
He's the
down.
only guy I know who makes stuff like that. Back in the day, he like spawned a whole generation of young glass blowers who wanted to make dot work and clear that way. I tried a couple times. I was like, I do not have that kind of patience. I like big flowy shapes.
Watching those guys work and do those dot patterns is one of the most intense things you'll ever visually see somebody do.
Highest level of glass blowing on the planet for functional rigs. But going back to the beginning, if someone wants to get behind the torch and become a glass blower and get into this realm of royalty in which you exist, what do you recommend?
Take JD's next class. Next media art in Denver.
Yeah.
That's
March 13th through the 15th.
In Denver?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm doing
Shout
a
out.
chalkboard class where I just have a whiteboard. You say what you want to learn, and I write it on the board. And
This show's not going to air till April. So
that's all right.
What's
That's
after?
fine.
What's after April?
After April, I'm trying to go over to. I'm either going to Mexico City or down to Peru because there's a
To
small,
teach?
No, I'm just going to go down and like demo with them.
Where can someone learn how to blow glass?
YouTube's the great spot to work. There's so many videos on there, and you just you can dive down the wormhole. And it's really nice. There's even stuff on Twitch nowadays where you get to interact with your teacher. Like I said, you can go to your library and you can check out Bondu's contemporary lamp working. That's what I learned from. I got a 4-hour class, and then it's like, here's a torch for $1,000, and here's a set of books for $70.
And you offer classes too?
Yes.
Awesome. That's dope, man. Thanks for doing that. Yeah. Offering your knowledge to the people, you know?
That's sorry. That's what Bob taught us.
So basically, if you want to be an artist, you got to put in your fucking time. All right, JD, now it's time for you to play penguin or pelican.
In the animal kingdom, we file them in all kinds of ways, like class, order, and family. This is penguin or pelican. Figure it out, genus.
Figure it out, JD. You ready, dog?
Yes.
All right, my gentleman. I don't know what those sound effects are. I think the bearded Lorax is doing laps around the table.
Thick skin like a penguin to make it around these parts.
There you go. So on the heels of the massive international success of the games Serbia or Siberia, Australia or Austria, Colombia or Cambodia, and of course salmon or salamander, as also Tanzania or Tasmania, and hippopotamus or rhinoceros, and none other than platypus or pollywog. The franchise continues with the mind-bending penguin or pelican. You ready, JD?
Yes.
I think he fell asleep, Rex. Okay, here we go.
Bump him.
Mama Chan's and Fox Cannabis. Number 1. Explorers first called these birds strange geese. Penguin or pelican?
Pelican.
Incorrect. It was the penguin. That's what crew member Antonio Pigafetta wrote during Ferdinand Magellan's first circumnavigation of the globe.
Wow.
Scientists say he most likely spotted these birds in the Falkland Islands, and they now go by the name Magellanic penguins. Okay, learned something, didn't you, bro?
Yes.
You don't give a shit.
No,
All
I
right,
love
here we go.
penguins.
Just playing. Should do a penguin piece of glass, bro. Great idea.
I made one with Chaka.
There you go, my dog.
Yeah, he's holding a little wormhole.
Really?
Cute.
Yeah.
Solid.
I like it.
All right, number 2. This bird has been around for 30 million years, as evidenced by a 30-million-year-old skull found in France. Penguin or pelican?
Pelican.
It's a pelican.
Hey.
All right.
Stay the course.
There you go, brother. All right, you got 1 out of 2.
They're adapted.
They're adapted, Wes. 30 mil. It's got to be, right? Now, number 3. In the bearded Lorax's workshop, where he whittles and whistles while waiting for the wicked weather to wane, he sips his Tazo, hibiscus, and ginger herbal tea from his favorite teacup, which is actually fashioned from a 30-million-year-old skull that he found on the floor of a museum in France. Penguin or pelican?
What?
That's a tough one, bro.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's
just because it was found in
confusing.
London makes me think it's
It was France, but that's okay.
France.
Yeah.
So drinking tea.
I think pelican, but part of me wants to say penguin.
Okay.
So, tossed.
Penguin.
Penguin. Pelican.
Penguins.
It's pelican because it's 30 million years old. He stole it from the museum. Get it, bro?
Yep.
My gentleman. All right. JD, congratulations. Hey, brother, where can we find you on social media?
At JD MAPLESDEN.
It's Maple S Den.
Yep. It's like animals den under a maple tree.
Fair, brother.
And then you are our glass artist of the month for our February issues. And that's in all the issues of The Leaf. You can check those out at leafmagazines.com or in print.
Thank you so much for being on the Leaf Life podcast, brother. We appreciate you and your art.
Thank you so much for having me on. It's a great time. You guys have a bunch of delicious flavors from all the marketers up here.
Whatever it was, it works.
Yeah, no, I'm used to like one hit, and then I work for a half hour to an hour, and I don't have a lot of social interaction. So as soon as I start smoking, I go, where's my torch?
Yeah, for sure. Typical glass blower.
I'm used to smoking like one hit, one dab, and then work.
Yeah.
One hit. So like sitting here, I'm just like, wow, there's a lot of cool stuff on the walls.
Taking it in.
Thanks for making the trip up, brother.
Yeah, the man knows his medicine. Thank you again, brother. Hey, Wes, next week, Bigfoot.
My cousin.
Download this and all Leaf Life episodes at leafmagazines.com. And please subscribe on YouTube at Leaf Life Podcast V2. Now get ready for another episode of Stony Baloney, which is also available at leafmagazines.com. And please be kind to animals and penguins.
Your hosts for Leaf Life are Mike Ricker and Wes Abney. Leaf Life is produced by Mike Daly. Some of the music heard is provided by purple-planet.com. Every bit of cannabis you use is female, so please respect the ladies. Leaf Life is brought to you by Leaf Nation, featuring Alaska Leaf, Oregon Leaf, Northwest Leaf, Maryland Leaf, Utah Leaf, Northeast Leaf, and California Leaf. On the shelf now in your local retailer. Now, please stay tuned for this week's edition of Stony Baloney by Mike Ricker.
Stony Baloney by Mike Ricker.
Dogtism. Autism is not funny. If you're poking at a human being, that is. But if it's an animal or insect or fish, etc., you have license to say whatever you want because the concept seems ridiculous. It's not an official veterinary diagnosis. Cannabis experiences the same plight, in that if there's little scientific data to back up your claims of medical efficacy, they are generally shrugged off as unsubstantiated. So no one can accuse me of making fun of something that's not a matter of official record. Now, if you're gonna poke fun at an animal for being autistic, it needs to at least be cute and not mean-spirited. And let's be real, the thought of an autistic dog isn't not cute, because having sympathy for something that is cute by default. So there you have it. Now, we all think it's insanely adorable when an animal displays traits of human characteristics. We've been on YouTube to see the sneezing panda, the dramatic squirrel, and the chimpanzee who has been trained to do the moonwalk. It melts our hearts. So it should be okay if I initiate the query of whether a dog can share a friendly disorder with said Homo sapien. Because I've got a friend who researched the criteria of what would implicate their pet as having this neurodevelopmental condition that is characterized by antisocial behavior. And I'll be damned if it isn't spot on. Like if your four-legged beast bestie is generally incapable of making a real connection with you and your friends, it could be that it has this most unfortunate affliction. I would suggest pet CBD for the little pal, but I am not a vetted vet. By the way, I've never actually seen a chimpanzee do the moonwalk, but that would be sick.
Stony Baloney.
These products have intoxicating effects and may be habit-forming.
Marijuana can impair concentration, coordination, and judgment.
Do not operate a vehicle or machinery under the influence of this drug.
There may be health risks associated with consumption of these products.
For use by adults 21 and older.
Keep out of the reach of children.